Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see this time we are going to talk about kit from Eduard. It's a model in 1/48 scale and it copies MiG-21SMT, and it comes as a weekend edition, so it will be without PE parts and masks, but still such a package should be a bit cheaper, so more accessible for some modelers. And that's why I decided to take a closer look, because here we have a commercial sample and it means you'll get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. So we are going to open it and check what is actually supplied in this nice box. And I have to note that box art is really beautiful here, and you can see comparison with my hand right now. On the side of the box we have also some information about the manufacturer. Obviously this is not a toy, but this is not a surprise, let's say. And on the other side we have a rather surprising thing which was introduced recently. It's 4 marking options which are included here, so definitely you have a, let's say, choice, and these markings are quite nice. So as you saw, it's a top opening box, and inside we have quite a lot of space, so I really doubt that the parts will be damaged when they will arrive to you. And as you can see, they arrived to me intact, even though they were shipped by a postal service which is not that, let's say, caring about your parcels. Next, we start with a clear plastic sprue, so it was packed into a separate Ziploc bag, and here we have Canopy parts. I would say they look quite nice, so obviously you can open the cockpit with this element, so there is nothing, I would say, surprising in this, and molding quality is really great, but as you remember we are dealing with a weekend edition, so there are no masks included, and in case you would like to get a nice paint finish, you have to get your own mask set, because Eduard sells them as a separate aftermarket, so you can get them for a quite reasonable price, and I would recommend to do so, because it will help you to get a nice finish on your aircraft. Okay, next I'm opening another plastic bag. This one is dedicated to gray plastic sprues. So first one is dedicated to wing parts, and here you can see that we have quite a typical parts division, so it means 1 lower section and 2 top, and we have all wing mechanization parts separate, so you have to install them one by one. But it's also great in this scale because you will be able to position them in whatever let's say version you would like to have. External features include rivets and recessed panel lines, so it's also nice to have, and maybe I will bring one part closer here so that you will be able to see it if camera will focus. Yeah, but it does not focus. Yeah, now you should be able to see these recessed panel lines, and they look great in my opinion. If I flip over these parts, here you can see also some guiding elements, so they will come handy for assembly of such large parts together. Okay, next we continue with the gray plastic sprue, which is dedicated to plenty of small elements. So even though this is a 1/48 scale kit, you can see that these parts are quite tiny, so it's better to handle them with the tweezers. But they are also important for the fine features of the aircraft, so that's why it's good to have them. And of course we have this one-piece nose cone, but note that in a bigger scale, in 1/48, you have to insert it before joining the fuselage halves together, unlike its smaller brother in a 1/72 scale. There you can insert the nose cone after assembly of the fuselage, which is quite handy, to be honest. Next we continue with another plastic sprue, so here you'll find parts for the cockpit, also for the main wheel wells, all these panels, and also for the engine nozzle. So obviously cockpit and the engine nozzle, you can upgrade them with brushing, but it will require some extra expenditure, so it's up to you whether you would like to spend more. But even the original out of the box plastic looks great, so there is nothing to complain about. Next we continue with another plastic sprue. This one is dedicated to fuselage halves. So here we have quite, I would say, unusual design, because as you can see both are molded without tail fin. That's because you have the top section of the fuselage molded as separate parts, and maybe it will also contribute to the overall ease of the assembly, because as I said before, this kit is quite famous, so some modelers have experience with this plastic and they have a really good impression of the plastic, so there is nothing to complain about. Okay, let's move this sprue to the side. And next we continue with this frame. So here you can see the tail fin, which is molded without rudder, and again external features include the recessed panel lines and rivets, and here inside you can see also some guiding elements which will help you with alignment, because these parts are relatively large and it's important to have something what will be helpful in order to get them in the right position between each other. Next we start with armament sprues, so do not be surprised by this huge amount of the tiny pieces, because they will be handy for the external armament on this aircraft, and obviously you don't have to use them all because it will depend on the loadout scheme you will decide to copy, and of course pay attention to what is printed in the assembly manual, because it will give you a better idea on how to replicate the proper loadout scheme. Next we continue with two identical plastic sprues. These ones are dedicated to the external armament, so missiles, bombs, fuel tanks, everything is supplied here out of the box, and in my opinion this is a really good thing for the weekend edition, because even though weekend edition is a bit more simplified version of the profit pack, we still get the armament out of the box, and unlike some Japanese manufacturers who offer it for the extra payment, here we get it without any extra cost. And this is really great because some of these parts will stay for your next builds, so definitely you can use them more than once. And next we continue with decals sheet. So actually there are two of them in one plastic bag, so just give me a second to open it. I hope it wasn't too loud, but I'm opening the plastic bag with decals, and here quite funny is that the biggest decals sheet is dedicated to stencils. So if I close the lenses a bit, you can see that these stencils, obviously both decal sheets are printed in Eduard, so these stencils should be really great to apply. And if I bring them closer, you can see that this printing quality is even readable in some cases, which is really useful because it will give you an even better appearance, and in 1/48 scale it is important. But there is one more decals sheet. This one is dedicated, let's say, to the main symbols and also to the canopy seals. We also have some decals for the cockpit. Those are seat belts and instrument dashboard or panel. And in my opinion, this should be more than enough for the out-of-the-box build. As you can see, these cockpit decals were quite nice. So if you are not that demanding for the final finish of the aircraft, this might work. And next we continue with assembly manual. So this one is printed in form of large cover printed brochure. We have short history note on the first page. Next we continue with the parts map. Blue color means that these parts will not be used. As you can see, almost whole armament sprue will not be used, only external fuel tanks and some bombs and missiles. So as I said before, pay attention because it will be important to use the right elements. Assembly process starts with the cockpit, then we continue with an engine nozzle. And here we assemble main wheel wells, we join fuselage halves together. Here, by the way, you can see nose cone and a small reminder about the weight in the nose cone so that you won't have a tail seater. Next we continue with wing. Main wing. So here you have to assemble the main wheel wells, which will be enclosed in the fuselage between the wing. Then we install the top panels, wing mechanization, also some external elements and fins on the lower section of the fuselage, landing gear doors, front landing gear, also pilot seat here on this stage. This kit is quite interesting because of this, because you can see that pilot seat gets inserted somewhere in between of the assembly. Then you have to decide whether you would like to open the canopy or close it. And of course external armament, we also have these rocket boosters in case you would like to have them. And of course the stenciling guide and painting guide for all this external equipment. Next we have first marking option from early 1980s, another one from late 1970s, and 2 more from mid-1980s, another one from late 1970s, and here you can see also stenciling guide for this aircraft. So whole kit looks like an, I would say, decent alternative to all these Profi packs which we are used to see, and it should be already available. You can get it on official Eduard website. Of course, I'll be happy to hear your opinion about such a list. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.